Good evening and welcome to the News at 8. I'm Sarah Jacob. Let's get you up to date with your world today. Supreme Court refers to the Sabarimala review pleas to a larger bench. Until then, the entry of all women into the Sabarimala shrine in Kerala continues. But now it's not just Sabarimala. The 7-judge Supreme Court bench also to examine discriminatory practices in other religions. No roving inquiry is needed on Rafale. The top court rejects review petitions. This reaffirms the Modi government's credentials as a corruption-free government, tweets Amit Shah. The Congress says this verdict opens up a window for a criminal investigation by the CBI, as the court has not said that an independent probe cannot continue. No Children's Day celebrations at schools as spiking pollution levels in the National Capital Region leads the government to close down schools for 2 days. Forced to stay at home for the second time in a month, students write to Prime Minister Modi, urging him to listen to their Mann Ki Baat this time. Ironically, while schools were closed due to toxic levels of pollution, a run for children to celebrate Children's Day is allowed to go ahead. And the probe into the tragic case of the suicide of an IIT Madras student, Fatima, is transferred to the Central Crime Branch. Her parents allege discrimination by a faculty member.
I've gone through a phase in my career where I felt like it was the end of the world.
Captain Kohli opens up about the mental struggles of a top-flight player, admits he too has been through phases of depression and that players by Graham Fowler should be supported at this time. Should the Supreme Court review its decision to end the ban on women between the ages of 10 and 50 entering Kerala Sabarimala temple? That decision will now be taken up by a 7-judge bench of the top court. What's more, the court ruled that restrictions on women in religious places were not restricted to Sabarimala alone and was prevalent in other religions too, which the 7-judge bench will also examine.
1 year after allowing women at Kerala's Sabarimala temple, the Supreme Court has reopened the core issues and even expanded the purview to cases of other religions being heard. The 7-judge bench will now examine Muslim Dawoodi Vohra and Parsi religious practices affecting women, along with women's entry at Sabarimala. The entry of women will continue as there is no stay on Supreme Court's earlier order. The CJI-led majority verdict has referred the matter to a 7-judge bench. It widens hearing to include entry of Muslim women in mosques, Parsi women married to non-Parsi into holy fire place, female genital mutilation among Dawoodi Vohras. The verdict said, it is time court evolve a judicial polity to do substantial, complete justice and for an authoritative enunciation of constitutional principles. It said, the larger bench to put at rest recurring issues on rights under Article 25 and 26, right to freedom and practice of religion. But the minority judgment by Justices R.F. Nariman and D.Y. Chandrachud was hard-hitting. It said, September 2018 verdict allowing all women at Sabarimala must be enforced, pointing out the violence after 2018 verdict. Minority verdict said organized acts of resistance to thwart implementation of judgment must be put down firmly. Holy Book is Constitution of India. States must enforce judgment necessary to preserve rule of law. Both Sabarimala devotees who opposed women entry and petitioners who want SC order to be enforced welcomed the verdict.
एक हिस्टोरिक डिसीजन है, एक पॉजिटिव स्टेप इन द राइट डायरेक्शन है. हमारे पार्शियल जीत हुआ, हमारा पूरी जीत नहीं हुआ मगर पार्शियल जीत हुआ. स्टे नहीं हुआ फिर भी पिछले वाला वर्डिक्ट पूरी तरह से ठीक नहीं है, इसीलिए रिव्यू किया. सो इसी रिव्यू को हम स्वागत करते हैं.
हमारी दलील को कुछ हद तक माना गया है क्योंकि उच्चतम न्यायालय ने ये ठीक समझा है कि पहले निर्णय को बड़ी खंडपीठ द्वारा वापस पुनर्निरीक्षण पुनः देखा जाए. तो आंशिक या पार्शियल रूप से मैं समझता हूं ये सफलता है.
It is neither the defeat nor the victory. It is the opinion is divided between 3 to 2. So when the larger issues would be decided by the larger bench, then these writ petitions and review petitions will be posted for hearing again.
This judgment seems to be a step towards uniform civil code. The debate began with the triple talaq judgment. Now the Sabarimala issue is taken it forward, with the court set to examine the religious practices of not only Hindu but other religions also. In New Delhi, Arunachalam Vaidyanathan, NDTV.
And crucially, as that report pointed out, the court has not stayed the judgment passed on the 28th of September last year that had lifted the ban on the entry of women between the ages of 10 and 50 to the temple. So women can still visit the shrine until the larger bench decides on the matter. And the Supreme Court's verdict now poses a major challenge for the Kerala Chief Minister, especially since the temple reopens for the annual pilgrim season in 2 days.
A year ago, the Kerala government went all out to provide security to women who wanted to pray at Sabarimala after a Supreme Court order. Today, after the top court ordered a review of the core issues but didn't mention a stay, the government said there's confusion and uncertainty. The state government is awaiting clarity on whether or not to allow women of all ages or provide them security.
വിധി എന്തായാലും ആ വിധി നടപ്പാക്കുക എന്നിടത്താണ് സർക്കാർ നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അത് ഈ വിധിയുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടുള്ള കൂടുതൽ അതിന്റെ പ്രത്യാഘാതങ്ങൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ്, സംസ്ഥാനത്തെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള ഭാഗങ്ങൾ എന്താണ്, ഇതൊക്കെ ഒന്ന് നല്ലതുപോലെ പരിശോധിക്കണമല്ലോ. ആ പരിശോധന നടത്താൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, ആ ഉപദേശം തേടാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
The court order finds both the Congress and the BJP on the same side, both claiming that now women cannot enter Sabarimala. Until last year, women between 10 to 50 years of age were not allowed to enter the temple because according to tradition, the deity worshipped here, Ayyappa, is a celibate.
That means this question is open. It's not final. So if this is not final, further hearing will be there in the Supreme Court. The state government should desist from taking the young ladies into the Sabarimala and infringe the feelings of the devotees.
The state government should take a stand. They have to maintain the faith, belief, tradition, customs there as such. My contention is they can't come there.
On the ground, over 10,000 police personnel will be deployed in phases starting 15th November, a day before the temple opens, but many raising concerns.
One can't help saying that one is disappointed, for sure. So perhaps the women who wish to go this year will plan better. I'm just praying that they plan better because you never know.
In Kerala, entry of women to Sabarimala is not an issue of faith alone. Opposition has been protesting against women of all ages entering Sabarimala and has been making it an election issue over the last 1 year, making evident the cautious approach we are seeing from the left government, despite the fact that women of all ages have the right to enter Sabarimala even now. With SP Babu, Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
And on the other hand, the Supreme Court today dismissed petition seeking a review of its verdict, refusing a CBI investigation into the Rafale fighter jet deal, saying that the review petitions were without merit. Now, while the verdict was unanimous, the 90-page judgment also said that petitioners can approach the CBI for registering an FIR provided the CBI gets a nod from the government as per the Prevention of Corruption law. This, the Congress says, leaves the door open for a further probe.
Finally, a sigh of relief for the Modi government. The Rafale fighter jet deal will not be probed by the CBI. The top court on Thursday dismissed petitions for reviewing the court's December 2018 verdict, which had declined CBI probe. Former BJP ministers Yashwant Sinha, Arun Shourie, activist advocate Prashant Bhushan and others petitioned the court with the Hindu newspaper report on internal notings which claimed to show a serious difference of opinion within the Defence Ministry over the deal. In a unanimous verdict, Chief Justice of India and Justice S.K. Kaul said, "There's no need to direct the CBI to file an FIR into the Rafale deal. It is not the duty of the court to determine the price of the Rafale deal on the basis of mere suspicion of petitioners. Apples cannot be compared with oranges. In other words, the terms of this contract cannot be compared with the old deal that the UPA was trying to negotiate for 126 Rafale fighters. Petitioners want to construe themselves as an appellate authority and want the court to decide the same." Justice K.M. Joseph, in a separate judgment, agreed with the Chief Justice and Justice S.K. Kaul,
but said petitioners can approach the CBI for registering an FIR provided the CBI gets the nod from the government as per the Prevention of Corruption law.
कि जो हमारी कंप्लेंट थी सीबीआई के सामने उसमें बहुत सीरियस चार्जेस कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंसेस के प्रधानमंत्री और लोगों के खिलाफ लगाए गए थे, उस पर कायदे से एफआईआर रजिस्टर होनी चाहिए थी। अब सीबीआई को पहले सरकार की अनुमति लेनी पड़ेगी एफआईआर रजिस्टर करने से पहले।
The top court dealing with contempt case against Rahul Gandhi for his remarks quoting the top court verdict and accusing Prime Minister Modi as Chaukidar Chor hai, let him off with a warning. The Supreme Court told Rahul Gandhi to be careful in future. The court said that persons holding important positions in political spectrum must be more careful. No court should be dragged into political discourse.
राहुल गांधी के खिलाफ कंटेम्प्ट हुआ था सुप्रीम कोर्ट को मिसकोट करने के लिए। कांग्रेस ने झूठ बोला, हमारे ईमानदार लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री के खिलाफ कैंपेन किया और झूठ पर झूठ बोलते गए। आज राहुल गांधी आपको माफी मांगना जरूरी है।
मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इस फैसले का स्वागत करता हूं। मैं समझता हूं कि डिफेंस प्रिपेयर्डनेस से जुड़े हुए मामलों का किसी भी सूरत में राजनीतिकरण नहीं किया जाना चाहिए और इससे हमारी सरकार के स्टैंड का विंडिकेशन हुआ है इस फैसले के परिणाम स्वरूप। बल्कि हमारी सरकार की जो डिसीजन मेकिंग की जो ट्रांसपेरेंसी है उस पर भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपनी मुहर लगा दी है।
राफेल केस में पुनर्विचार याचिका पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का निर्णय आज ये साबित करता है कि राफेल के भ्रष्टाचार की आपराधिक जांच का रास्ता सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आज खोल दिया है।
For Air Force, this means vindication in two ways. Firstly, negotiations were held by successive deputy chiefs of the Indian Air Force. Secondly, after today's verdict, complex defense acquisitions will be more smooth. In New Delhi with Sunil Prabhu, this is Arunachalam Vaidyanathan, NDTV.
And in an action-packed Thursday at the Supreme Court, the top court also deferred the hearing in the challenge to the abrogation of Article 370 till the 10th of December, expressing the need for one common compilation of all the documents of both sides to ensure that the hearing becomes easier. Remember, there are over 20-odd petitions in the case, with 2 fresh petitions admitted by the court today, and the court has now directed the centre to file its counter-affidavit on or before the 22nd of November. And meanwhile, in his first public speech after assuming office, the Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor has said that elections for the Assembly of the Union Territory will be held soon.
अभी इस प्रदेश में चुनाव भी आएगा। ये केंद्र शासित प्रदेश है, इसके साथ लेजिस्लेचर भी है। ये नहीं मानना है कि इसी तरह चलेगा। यहाँ जल्द से जल्द चुनाव करने के लिए प्रक्रिया भी आएगा और उसमें भी आप लोगों का भूमिका रहेगा।
And here's the big story of the day when it comes to human impact. It has now been 54 hours that residents of the National Capital Region have been breathing toxic air with pollutant levels of PM 2.5 above the red line of 300 micrograms per cubic meter. On the 3rd of November, remember, pollution levels reached explosive levels, a high point in terms of amount of pollution one is exposed to. But this is the longest continuous stretch of time to such severe exposure. Now take a look at your screen. These are the 10 most polluted parts of the country, and they're all facing severe levels of life-threatening pollution where the AQI is nearing the alarming 500 level mark. Why is this alarming news? Because even a few days of exposure to high levels of air pollution can have fatal outcomes, especially among children. Now, fine particles or PM 2.5 levels, that particles that penetrate deeper into the lungs, are known to cause heart attacks, strokes, asthma and bronchitis, as well as premature death from heart ailments, lung diseases and cancer. And what does this mean for your children? Well, at current emission rates, a child born today will face lifelong health impacts of climate change. That is what the latest Lancet report says. The report says that there have been over 5 lakh premature deaths in 2016 due to PM 2.5, and it goes on to say that over 97,000 premature deaths are due to the burning of coal. That throughout adolescence, air pollution impacts will worsen, and total energy supply from coal, remember, has increased from 11% in India. And ironically, today, reacting to the spiking pollution levels, the Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority finally also asked industries not running on clean fuels to remain closed till Friday. And of course, as an emergency measure, the Delhi government closed schools in the capital. But what if children living on the streets with nowhere to go? Let's go to Sukirti Dwivedi for more. Sukirti, some of us have the option of protecting our children with air purifiers at home. Some have the option of getting out of town, which increasingly people are doing. But you've spent the day with children who have no such choice.
Well, yes, we are standing right now at Lodi Road, and if I give you the AQI levels or the PM 2.5 levels specifically at this location, it is at 438 right now, which is 17 times of what the World Health Organization calls the safe limit. As you can see, there is a blanket of haze and smog all around me, and all these people that you see here live in the open on these streets and have to breathe this polluted air 24/7. Here with me, I have 40-year-old Miss Radha here. That's her grandson, who is just 1.5-year-old. This child has to breathe this air 24/7. I'll speak to Miss Radha about how things have been bad for this specific family when it comes to their children, and this is the case of many others like her. Madam, 1.5 साल का नाती है आपका, क्या परेशानी रही है इनको? सांस की क्या तकलीफ रही है पिछले कुछ दिनों में?
वही है, सर्दी हो रही है, नाक बह रहा है, बस।
सांस लेने में भी तकलीफ हो रही थी, आप कहती डॉक्टर के पास ले जाना पड़ा?
हाँ, 200 रुपए की दवाई ली है डॉक्टर के पास। छाती में ये हो रही सर्दी से।
So this is what the situation of these small kids is at this point of time. We also have Dr. Akshay Buddhiraja here with me. He's a pulmonologist, and he'll speak more on the issue. Sir, what are the kind of consequences, what are the kind of diseases that these people, especially the children, will have to face because of breathing this kind of polluted air 24/7?
So these children are really small, and they are already having malnutrition and low immunity, and the diameter of the alveoli in their airways are really narrow, and then they are easily affected by the inflammation caused by the particles like PM 2.5, and these particles produce inflammation in the airway. Then there is mucus impaction in the smaller airways, and then these mucus get impacted and the child coughs, he complains of fever, and he has wheeze and breathing difficulty, and it is very difficult to remove this mucus, and without the help of medication it is not removed, and he requires consultation from a doctor, which is another difficult thing for these people.
Right. So that's what the doctor is saying, and my colleague Divya Vadva presents us this report of how street kids who live on the streets are among the worst affected.
On Children's Day, these kids, just 7 kilometers from the seat of India's government, have no option but to put their lives at risk by simply breathing this toxic air.
क्या करें, काम की वजह से आना पड़ता है, तो यहाँ पे इतनी दिक्कत हो रही है, इसका कुछ हल तो निकलना चाहिए।
आंखों में जलन होती है, सांस लेने में दिक्कत होती है, बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रही है।
कान में दर्द होता है, सर में दर्द होता है।
कल मेरा सीना बहुत दर्द हो रहा था, सो नहीं पाया रात में।
As far as air pollution is concerned, the economically deprived class is much worse affected than those who are well off, because they can at least have some personal protective measures. Children have very small air passages, and when the lining of that small air passage gets swollen, it further reduces the size available for the air passage, and therefore these children experience severe difficulty in breathing. Exposure to very high levels of air pollution is one of the commonest causes of pneumonia, especially in the under 5 age group. Everybody in Delhi is losing on an average 10 years of his or her life because of breathing the air that we breathe. Apart from its effects on lungs, breathing toxic and polluted air very sadly also adversely affects the brain development in children. Diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, all three of which are being seen increasingly in children, are also being linked to exposure to pollution.
The irony is the ones that pollute the least are the most affected.
wind speed is changing because of these passing transient western disturbances. And as I told, it was calm in the morning. It is becoming southwesterly winds, and tomorrow it will become northwesterly winds.
We're in Nizamuddin, the same spot that I was at 8:30 in the morning. Right now it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and there's just been no change whatsoever. The AQI comes in at the same. It's 460 at the moment. Earlier in the morning it was 463. But what's changed is the PM 2.5 levels. They are peaking at 539 points. Pollution as far as PM 2.5, that killer PM 2.5 is only higher. And this is just another severe day. We've already had 24 severe days in 2019.
Thank you, Divya. Some heartbreaking, horrific statistics and figures there, and also the irony that children who contribute the lowest to air pollution, but they're among the biggest sufferers. And today on Children's Day, the youth, children from schools appeal to the Prime Minister for their right to breathe.
A heartfelt note from a Delhi school principal to her students, pointing out that on Children's Day, the school should have been resonating with their laughter. Instead, schools were closed across NCR due to a severe spike in air pollution. Ironically, on Children's Day, the Lancet report for 2019 was released, which highlighted the impact of climate change on the health of world's children, and how without drastic action to curb emissions, they can expect these impacts to be felt throughout their lifetimes, potentially affecting both their quality of life and lifespan. Now Delhi school children are saying enough is enough. Forced to stay out of classrooms, students wrote hundreds of letters to Prime Minister Narendra Modi urging for an intervention.
In our petition, we're asking the Prime Minister to, take some action about the crop burning, take some action about, the pollution. And we're asking him to make sure that our schools don't get shut down, because it's not just, our social life, it's also our academics which are getting affected.
Ironically, while children were denied their right to go to school for the second time this month because of explosive pollution levels, in another part of the city, a run for children was flagged off, and children were made to run through this horrifying smog. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And the big story from the south, the Chennai police have transferred a case involving the suicide of an IIT Madras student to the Central Crime Branch after her parents recovered a mobile phone note that named faculty members for her decision.
5 days after 19-year-old Fatima killed herself inside her hostel room at IIT Madras, the Central Crime Branch of Chennai Police has taken over the case. Her family has alleged that they suspect Fatima was persecuted on religious grounds. This after her sister chanced upon a note in Fatima's phone that reportedly named 3 faculty members.
The case has been is being transferred to Central Crime Branch for investigation. A team will be formed consisting of headed by the Additional Commissioner Thiru Ishwaramurthy and a few senior officers to give a better focus and attention considering the sensitivity of the case.
Fatima was reportedly a bright student from Kollam in Kerala who moved to IIT Madras just in August this year to pursue an integrated 5-year humanities course. The police has questioned her friends and faculty members.
Academic pressure at IIT Madras can get quite intense at times, especially during our end semester exams when we have consecutive exams for a week. Some students can find it hard to cope with. There are, however, certain measures put in place. There are counselors, and students can approach counselors if they feel like venting out to someone.
In a statement, IIT Madras says it has roped in students and psychiatrists to ensure emotional well-being of students. Unfortunately, Fatima, it would seem, did not reach out to counselors, friends, or family. Fatima's mobile phone and messages have been sent for forensic examination. IIT Madras has seen 5 suicides in 11 months. While exclusivity, elitism and academic pressure are often blamed for these unfortunate incidents, this case has taken political overtones now, amid allegations of a clampdown on liberal academic culture due to what students call the right-wing impact. There were protests outside IIT Madras. DMK Chief M.K. Stalin said, saffronization of educational institutions must stop and demanded a transparent, time-bound, independent probe. In Chennai, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
And talking about one's emotional well-being, Virat Kohli, the Indian cricket team's captain across all formats, has now praised Glenn Maxwell's decision to take a break from cricket owing to mental health issues. Here's why.
I've gone through a phase in my career where I felt like it was the end of the world. You know, in England 2014, I just didn't know what to do, what to say to anyone, how to speak, how to communicate. And to be honest, there wasn't any, I couldn't have said I'm not feeling great mentally and I need to get away from the game, because you never know how that's taken. So I think these things should be of great importance. I think these things should be respected and not taken in a negative way at all, because this is happening at a human level. It's got nothing to do with what you do on the field or not. It's just not having the capacity anymore to deal with things, which I think can happen to any person in any walk of life.
Well said, Captain Kohli. And finally, we're going to leave you with images of Deepika Padukone and Ranveer Singh celebrating their first wedding anniversary. And we know this because Deepika Padukone has posted these pictures of the couple as they headed to Tirupati to seek